certified real.
Hey, I'm a little excited.
You heard it here first. Certified real. Everybody.
You are now listening to Real Talk Podcast.
This is certified. Welcome back to Real Talk Trailers. You know, we got a special panel here. We're going to review movie The Fast and Furious 9 trailer today. You already know Xavier here, and you know me, Gills, but we got two heavy hitters in the independent film industry out in Tampa. We got Josh and we got Gerard. You want to introduce yourselves? How you doing?
Appreciate y'all coming.
Yeah, so what are your thoughts on the trailer?
Well, I'm glad somebody finally gave Tyrese a paycheck again.
That's so low.
That's not right.
Look, I've been done with the Fast and the Furious franchise since we lost Paul Walker, and here's why I have an issue with this one. You have Brian's girlfriend or wife, whatever she is in the movie, and his kid, but no Brian.
Like Tom's sister,
and no explanation. Yeah, no explanation.
Right. And
well, we all know.
Supposedly, from the rumors I've read, with everything that happened last year, like the original version of the movie tested okay. They did a bunch of reshoots, and The Rock is actually going to be in this movie too. And there's like supposed to be like this epic fight scene between him and John Cena. I don't know if it's true or not, but it's just stuff that I read online.
We don't want to spread no rumors here on Real Talk.
I don't. Hey, you know you can't have the Fast and the Furious franchise without The Rock now.
At this point, yeah, you can't do it. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's going to do well without The Rock. If The Rock's not in, I think it's going to do well. They always do well. Even didn't Tokyo Drift do well?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. Like they always do well. You know
I mean,
they bringing back dead characters.
I should comment. I was only watching Tokyo Drift for the main character. That actor was fine, and I was there for it.
Ain't he on NCIS right now?
Yeah,
Lucas Black, whatever his name is.
Yeah. The quarterback. Yeah, the quarterback.
The quarterback. Yeah. Oh my god.
But so what you saying is Josh, I remember you said you haven't watched it since Tokyo Drift. Gerard, you haven't watched it since R.I.P. Paul Walker. Gills, you watched the latest one, correct?
I watched them all multiple times.
Okay, so it looked like it sounded like we split right now because I enjoy the Fast and Furious films. Gil sound like he enjoy them, but we got two on here that don't really enjoy them. So why? I need to know why.
They've gotten away. Like the original was so amazing because it was about cars and street racing and like these two guys didn't get along well, then they got along. There was like this whole story. Now it's kind of like, I feel like I'm watching Oprah sometimes. You get a brother. Oh, here's a baby mama. Like they're just winging. Like you're gonna bring Han back from the dead. We all saw him blow up in Tokyo Drift. What is it like nanobite? Like a nanobite? Like he's like the Vision version of like Han. He's made from an Infinity Stone.
He's a sniper now too.
Right? I'm sorry, them skills were on point. I'm like, your man do everything apparently.
All right, what about you, Josh? Man? Why you haven't watched it since Tokyo Drift? Other than old dude wasn't in the next ones.
I don't. I think I missed a couple of films in between Tokyo Drift and the next one I heard about, but they were pulling like some robbery in Rio de Janeiro.
I think that was somewhere. The fifth.
Was the fifth? That was fifth. That was five.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I don't know. I was hearing about it and it felt weird because the original films were about street racing, and it was a very weird look, a very stylized look into that culture of street racing and like the people in it and everything. And it was the first time I looked at the trailer and I'm like, that's just not the same vibe. Like that movie had a huge impact on like me as a kid and like my brother and everybody growing up in that age. Like quoting that movie was like the standard in high school.
Because the Buster kept me out of handcuffs.
Yo, Gills is the quote king, bro.
I love that movie. He didn't just run back to the fort. Come on.
Yo, Gills is the quote king.
Go ahead.
trailer number 5, I just looked at him like, this doesn't feel like the same movie that I grew up on.
Okay.
But I will say, like, the opening of that trailer where they're rebuilding Dom's house, like those first few seconds of the trailer, like, really played on my heartstrings right there.
Okay.
Great point. That's a great point.
That
like,
is a great
point. They try to
they did a lot though.
Harking back to the past a little bit. Like,
they do that. They do that on the regular though. Like you always see that in their films, that they do always stick to like that original idea, like at we're car thieves at heart type feel. You know? But one thing I felt like, and I know they do that because they have Bow Wow. Bow Wow got a little cameo in it at the beginning when they see the house and they do like a little, side profile. Everybody that's at the little barbecue, Bow Wow is there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Wow. So that's what I'm saying. Like they do keep that going, like that they stay with the roots type flow. But for me, and I think maybe I'm just looking at it a little bit different. For me, why I love the franchise so much is the fact that they did do that. Like that they did go from car thieves to saving the world, right? Because I feel like representation is really, really important in films, right? And this film has representation of everything: nerds, mechanics, Black people, women, everything. There's like a hard representation, and the characters there's a lot of growth in the characters, even though some of it is not realistic, right? Like we know Dom is not going from stealing cars to saving the world type stuff, right? But imagine like us, we grew up watching these films, right? And then we see regular car thieves, and now they're literally superheroes. Like the spinoff Hobbs and Shaw, like they literally had a Black Superman, in that film, right? So to be able to see that, to be able to have that where it's all good representation of each other, we're not, thugs, criminals, crackheads, whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? Like to see that growth, to see that change, I think that's dope, and that's why that's why I love the films, and I wouldn't mind if they kept going in that instance.
I mean, I think if they're gonna keep going with the franchise, and I get what you're saying. I mean, I get that it went from being a car movie to a superhero movie. Just call it something else. Just call it something else. Like you see the end of this, you got Tyrese and Ludacris and a spaceship looking like two minions.
We think.
Like, what's gonna be?
Are we ignoring that that's basically a car strapped to rockets held together with duct tapes and rivets?
But think about that though. That's kind of like staying to the roots. Like that's kind of the idea of like, we could go and get some fancy shit and make it like superhero type shit, but we didn't. We chose to stay like, they're still car thieves at heart. You know what I'm saying? So I like.
I'm not hating on that car with those rocket boosters because the way they built up Ludacris's character, like that dude is a genius. I would feel safer in that car than on a plane.
Yeah,
like, what are we doing? F10 populating Mars? Come on.
No. Hey, that's where we headed. That's what I love. Just to your point, Xavier. That's why I love the film, because I think back to like the very first movie and how far we've gotten. Because the very first movie, it gave me a lot of memories about like Point Break and how much that movie was like. You got the person like undercover trying to infiltrate the criminal ring, whatever. He has to become one of them in order to successfully get the job done. And think back to this, and they didn't go the Point Break route where they get the person. They went the other route. So I felt like they already, at that point, at the end of the first movie, they already gone as far as they could with that storyline. Now they just threw money at it and then see what happens, and it just kept growing bigger and bigger, and to the point where it's like,
shit, I want to see what the budget for the first film was.
Right, the first one was low. I think it was like 20 million or something like that.
It probably
low compared to what they doing 200 or better right now. Like they're literally doing superhero movies. And to credit what you're saying, Gills, is that I do like that they always go bigger. Right? Like it's never the same type of style that they're, winning their finishing a mission or whatever. Like there was one, remember, like I remember they had like the zombie cars where they was control of the cars. Y'all didn't see it because I stopped watching, but for whatever reason. But they had this point in the film where they was doing zombie cars and they was able to control the cars, like the hackers. Because we got every car got a chip in it, and they was just driving around, messing things up. And then now they got these magnets where, you know what I'm saying? So
I
That's
do
the thing.
love that. Like they pick a thing in the film and like they really just have fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not afraid to look at something and be like, what the fuck can we do with this and cars? And then they're just like, Like they threw a bunch of like idea dice at a table and they're like, okay, this car's going through a grill, this car's going through a family. Like we don't know.
So here's the one thing I love about the Fast and the Furious. Even though I kind of stopped watching it, and I watched this whole. Actually, was born one day, and Vin Diesel went live on. Forgot if it was Facebook or Instagram, and he was literally talking about the ideas, like the magnets and the rockets. It all comes from the fans. Like people literally just send in letters, like, "Hey, you guys should put like a giant whale on the back of a car and drive." And then they're like, "Hey, let's give the fans what they want." Like The Rock came into the franchise because people sent him letters saying, "Hey, you got to get The Rock in it." Jason Statham, same thing. People were asking. So I'm like, that is super dope that they're actually listening to the fans. I wish more franchises did that. And
it's organic.
And then they're like, let's push the envelope because that's what the fans are asking for. So that's the one reason I still respect it. And I'm actually looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with the female spinoff. With
I know they got an animated cartoon on Netflix for it too.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
That one's just as like out there as the movies. It's like the kids get recruited like to be super spies with high-tech cars.
That's what I'm saying. Like to me, that's so dope that they was able to take, the stereotypical, thieves or whatever it is, and literally turned them into superheroes, and the world accepts it. Like there's nobody questioned it. Like nobody was like, nah, this is corny. I don't want to see this. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see Vin Diesel do this, or whatever the case may be. Like the world literally accepted this, and they show out every time they release a film. They show out. So
the main part I love about it is there's still a market for it because growing up, like 80s and 90s, we had the super big budget action flicks with mindless just. I'm just going here just to see some explosions and some car crashes and people get chased down in gunfights. Like there's a market for that. I think sometimes we can get too in our head and take ourselves too seriously with the movies, but that's one of the movies I like. You have to go to the theaters to really experience it because definitely. It's just you wanna see it on the big screen. You want to get
Dolby. You want your chair to be shaking, like you want to hear the loud
music. All that.
One thing, not to cut you off, but one thing that that the soundtrack is gonna be good. Like it's gonna have good music or whatever the case may be, and you're gonna see some dope cars. They're gonna do close-ups. They're gonna emphasize on like, yo, we still drive cars. You know what I'm saying? So, I that's one thing that I'm always gonna be willing to go see the Fast and Furious, and I like Vin Diesel from where he come from, New York, filmmaker, independent, coming up, and now there's points where he's the highest paid. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, the story on how Vin Diesel got his start, right? Hanging up the phone on Steven Spielberg.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, like Spielberg called him up, like, "Hey, I'm doing a movie."
Oh, for Saving Private Ryan?
Yeah, he hung up the phone. He thought somebody was playing a prank on him, and then Spielberg called him back, like, "You hang up the phone again. This opportunity's gone."
I can't.
All right, so we talked about it a little bit. Also, another thing that we kind of glossed over is that they always have the most amazing shots. Like whatever camera they use is always A1. The quality is always A1. I mean, they have the budget for it, of course, so it's expected for everything to be A1. But they do be having unique, even the whack close-ups that we gotta see of Vin Diesel every film be on.
Pretty much Justin Lin is taking over like the director chair for that series, right? Like I would think.
I believe so. So.
I feel like those shots are like a unique style to this film series, and they're necessary for its success. Because the Fast and the Furious series has created this like weird pocket of mystical realism where like you're perfectly okay forgiving reality for whatever you see on screen because it's just believable enough and it looks amazing. Like of all the films that I've seen, like they all always look amazing.
That's why I go to the theaters, for that suspension of disbelief. Just like, okay, just for 2 hours, I'm gonna buy whatever you're selling. So, and if you can make me believe it, it's good.
And the Fast series like puts everything together in like a really beautiful way to just suspend reality in a really fun way. I am concerned about like the story quality. Like, no, the reason I've been hating on the Marvel films a lot recently, especially like just a little bit before Endgame, was like I felt like you weren't getting the story you're paying for. You were just getting for like a bunch of superhero looks.
Right.
Like
But but I have a question for you on that thing, because like Marvel, this film also has a lot of prominent characters, right, and good actors. But Marvel, I feel like we get less of the story in a way for two reasons. A lot of us are familiar with the comic book aspect of it, so we have a lot of background on what the possibilities, right? And then there's just so much firepower on the screen at any given moment. It's kind of like, who are we going to focus on, who we not going to focus on? And I feel like we're seeing that, and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier kind of proved that, right? Because Falcon has always been like this side to Captain America throughout his whole entire stint. And then they make a whole dope show about him. And now we see like, yo, he can really carry a movie. Like, we all know Anthony Mackie can carry a film, but like as the Falcon, he can now carry a whole film. And I feel like there's so many characters that are in the Marvel, universe right now that could just carry a whole film by themselves. And they're and I think they do a great job of smashing all of that into one film. So I think that's sort of like what Fast and Furious is doing. Like, their characters is obviously not as prominent or as big as Marvel characters, but we have invested over the years in every character, that when we see that character, we know, oh yes, we know that. When we see that character, we know that, and we know their whole background, their story, how they got involved, everything like that. So I think that's why. And I think credit to like the action and all that stuff is like, yo, we don't really need a story at this point. Like, we know we saving the world. Let's just go save the world. You know what I'm saying?
So like the one thing I want to add like to that is so I stopped watching the franchise after Paul Walker died. So I can't really talk about what they've done with the storyline. To me, it was kind of like when 2 came out and Vin Diesel wasn't it, I wasn't really feeling it. And to know you took like it could have been the other way, like Paul Walker stayed on and Vin Diesel went to go be Groot, and I'm done. It would have been like that whole chemistry is gone. But to do what they've done for 20 years and cap that same group, the same crew, the same cast together, like, you guys know we're trying to do it with Lima Films, and we've been going for 5 years. Like in 20 years, they're first still doing that. Like, I'll be happier than like, well, like, happy as hell, because it's hard. There's a lot of compromise. You got to do stuff to keep everybody happy, to make sure everybody puts out the best quality. So on that aspect of the production and everybody staying on, hey, I give them that props, because it's impossible to do. Look, like you talking about Marvel, 10 years in, Downey Jr. quit, Chris Evans all walked away, and it wasn't because they didn't love their characters, because their egos got in the way. They were like, oh, I want more money, I want to stay on, but you got to pay me more. These guys are all taking pay cuts to keep feeding everybody, to keep everybody on these projects. So I give them mad respect for that.
Oh yeah, anybody who can keep a franchise like going for this long, like, I didn't even realize it had been that long till you said it, and now I feel like an old man and I have to go get a back brace to sleep in. Thank you for that. But anybody who can keep not just like their fan base going for that long, but the entire cast going for that long. Because I mean, like X said, like, someone could probably dip out and like we wouldn't miss them that much, forgiving like Vin Diesel or Paul Walker. Like, we probably wouldn't miss anybody else that much, but like keeping everybody else going for that long in that series and still delivering a new and exciting product every time is just amazing for what they've done over the years. And they do get a lot of mad respect for that.
You got to think like, not only do they take, people that are already kind of big, like in the film industry already, and like kind of make them even bigger, but it's also like the launching pad for a lot of people. You think of, at one point people look at The Rock as franchise Viagra. You put him in this big ass franchise and it becomes even bigger than what it was before. You throw in a Jason Statham, but then you also look at somebody like, Gal Gadot. We might not have a Wonder Woman without the Fast and Furious franchise. That's dope. That's a dope point. Because she doesn't. Yeah, that's a dope nobody point. Knew about her. So like it's a big deal. You need movies like this.
Yeah. Which one was Gal in?
It was like
5. She was in 5. She was in Brazil.
5? Yeah, it was 5. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I actually might have saw a little bit of 5.
Yeah.
No.
5 was one of the better ones. 5 was really good. 5 was really good.
Okay, now I remember the scene I saw her in. Okay, so I saw a little bit of 5.
I don't want y'all to think like the only ones that like probably wasn't really that good was the throw, kind of like the throw of ones, with him and Tyrese probably wasn't that good. The Tokyo Drift probably wasn't that good, but like outside of when you got the main ones, there is usually a pretty good film. So.
I like Tokyo Drift.
Tokyo Drift has its own fan base.
Yeah. I'm not saying compared. I'm saying compared to the other ones that we've seen. But, you know what I'm saying?
But even for a franchise, a film franchise that like cost that much to produce, to have throwaway films like in its lineup is just amazing. Because normally if you produce a throwaway film, like you've already lost like a good chunk of your audience. But they kept coming back after those films, and that's unbelievable. They
kept it fresh. They just kept it fresh. Like it was always fresh ideas, something new to bring to the table. I think that's really what it was. And then when you bring in like The Rock, Jason Statham, and then you got Idris Elba and the spinoff, like people are gonna want to see that you're keeping it fresh. Like I think if they don't do that, we don't want to see Vin Diesel for 10 films like that. You know what I'm saying? Like but I think because they kept it fresh, and then they have all of that macho, who's bigger, who's stronger type. And I think it's interesting. You know what I'm saying? I think that's something that we wanted to see in the 90s with like Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jean-Claude Van Damme and all of those dudes who were just so. That's why the Expendables was successful too, because, you know, they started to mix it up and bring people in. But I think it doesn't need it. I think it's a big family and they just, you know, having fun with it, which is what I think film is really about at the end of the day anyway.
I come to the theaters to watch Vin Diesel to say the word family. Just that's it. And as long as he says that in the movie, I'm good. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, people gonna watch it or just watch him say "I'm Groot."
Yeah,
people really do that now. Don't even know it sometimes. But all right, so moving forward, you know, like we do, we want to go ahead and rate this if it's real certified, meaning we're gonna go ahead and see that in theaters, or we're gonna sit back and wait until it come on streaming networks, TV, or whatever the case may be. So go ahead, Gerard, what you thinking? Definitely got to go with y'all two first, since y'all haven't seen the other ones in a while, whatever the case may be. Is this something you gonna go see in the theaters? No, matter of fact, better question. Are you gonna at least go and catch up? Like, are you gonna go watch the other films?
You're asking a lot. You're asking a lot. It's 9 movies, bro.
I think X got a good point. If you can't watch this without watching, I can't watch this without watching 7 and 8, because that's kind of like watching Avengers Endgame and watching Iron Man 1 and expecting you to know everything that's happened in between. Because even though I stopped at 6, they still connect everything. There's always a connection. They bring people. I mean, I definitely would watch it. The franchise has never disappointed me. I think I just, when Paul Walker died, it's kind of like it was a wrap for me at that point. But nothing against the franchise. Like I said, they've done a good job at literally living up to the word of family that they preach in the movie. So looking forward to seeing how this does.
So that's a real Turk certified for you. You're going to go see that in the theater. Okay, we got one. What's up, Josh? What you thinking?
I agree with Gills. I'm going to certify this. This is one you have to go see in theaters. If you're going to a movie like this and you're not watching it in theaters, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Thanks.
Like, I don't know. I may not catch up. I'm going to be honest. I may not catch up on the films that I missed. But I definitely feel like with the way they make these films, like I can watch this and still enjoy it, knowing I'm missing some stuff. So like, yeah, definitely going to see that in theaters.
What's up, Gills?
It's double certified. Man. Come on, man. I'm going in there. I'm sneaking in my my little trail mix into my bag, whatever, and then I'm just and I'm about to enjoy myself, turn my phone off for 2 hours and just watch craziness, and that's it.
I'm agree. I'm gonna need Terrell to smack a big, real, certified in the middle of the screen. Yeah, because I'm definitely gonna see this in the films, and I'm gonna go and pay the little extra money, go get the little Dolby seats. You know what I'm saying? So I can hear the music, get the bass, the surround sound, all that good stuff. Because I honestly think this is gonna be better than what we expected them to be, low key.
Look, and they went back in and did some editing during COVID to make it even better. So,
so I
they got the budget. They got the budget.
Yeah, they always gonna have the budget. Yo. They always gonna shoot out money for that.
I want to say they did the Snyder cut on this one, but I would have to say they did the Vin Diesel cut on this one.
I don't know.
Diesel cut. A diesel cut. I need that.
That's comedy.
I need that.
I can't take going back and doing cuts seriously. Ever since we cyberbullied a studio into changing a blue hedgehog, It's just not the same for me anymore. It doesn't mean what
it needed to be done. It needed to be done.
Yo, that's another show, but we should definitely talk about that because I said the same thing to Gil. Remember, Gills, we had talked about that.
Yes,
that's definitely going to be another show. But I appreciate y'all joining us. Appreciate everybody watching. That's our Real Talk Trailer Reviews. Like I said, we're gonna be trying to do this like once a week. Appreciate everybody, and we out.
Certified real.
Hey, I'm a little excited.
You heard it here first. Certified real. Everybody.
You are now listening to Real Talk Podcast.
This is Certified